Good
Hi, Sammy.
morning. How's it going?
Good.
Welcome back. How are you doing?
I'm like hopped up on sleep. I had way too much sleep while I was on my time off.
Can't relate. How was your time off? What were you doing?
Nothing.
Perfect timing.
Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
I have not known you long, to be fair, but I feel like I know you well. And I don't know that doing nothing is like in your DNA at any point in time. So I just want to know, what exactly does nothing entail? How was it? Are you okay?
It was great.
Check on you.
So this is the first break. I was calculating this. This is the first break I've had like this in over 3 years, which is unhealthy. Everybody can pile it on. That's fine. And just sometimes life, you just have these moments where, 3 years at a time moments where you're just like, like things are moving. You just can't pull away. Anyway, this was truly like, I was doing training with Project Evident, and my son was there.
Project Evident, really quick. What is Project Evident?
Project Evident is an organization that helps nonprofits utilize data and technology in innovative ways. And they were chosen as one of the Google recipients for the grant to do trainings in generative AI. So they brought, so I was doing a training with Project Evident and Beth Cantor, which was just amazing. Beth is so cool. It was really fun.
You took that picture with Beth, didn't you?
I did. Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was really fun to do that training. And then I sent my computer back with John David and was just like, I'm out.
Wow.
And then I had one little contract thing I had to do. And the rest of the time we watched, my wife and I watched Orville. Like, I don't know if you've seen that Star Trek Takeoff. We found an Airbnb close to the ocean. So we usually hole up. We don't want to meet people. We just want to hang out with ourselves. But our Airbnb hosts were really cool. The dude, like, he's a builder for celebrities. He's now 75. He's had a really, really interesting career, and he built his own 45-foot catamaran. And they took us to their boat. We got to hang out. I asked all sorts of questions because I thought that was super interesting. And then we rented a Jeep. So we took the top off, went biking around a bird preserve, and ate a bunch of food.
You're like an 8-year-old man.
Yeah, I know. No, I like so completely out of the loop. Did not check email. And on our way back, my adult disabled sister Becky, I always like get her something, and so I took all these photos of the thing I got her, which is like this like random toy at a taqueria that we were at. Anyway, took close-up pictures of it and then teased her all yesterday on what this thing was with our whole family. So that was really fun too. It was just a great trip. It was just really nice to be away. Came back to a full email, full inbox of all sorts of great stuff. And I'm really, really excited to be back.
We are excited to have you. Despite what I may claim, I did miss you. In fact, Dan and I did hold down the fort last week. My goodness, I was gonna say yesterday, then last year. So while you caught up on sleep, I did not. I think I sent you an email at approximately 3:30 this morning. But those are like kind of some of my favorite nights too. So I don't mind. But Dan held down the fort with me. Always appreciate him hopping on and saying hi. But yeah, we kind of touched on this last week, Dan and I did, but he had to let me in on a secret that you and him were supposed to meet about something important and ended up only meeting about VO's updates last week.
Yeah.
And also he and I like barely scraped the surface in it, because then we kind of dove into guided learning. It was a little bit of a hodgepodge episode of just like, what does Gemini have that we haven't explored? Because they've released a couple new things. So I thought you and I could spend some time today really digging into VO.
Yep.
And then and why, right? Because of the update that literally happened the day before last week's episode, which is crazy. And then hopefully by the end of it, we will build like a storybook, because I want to use one of the pre-curated gems in Gemini to create like an impact storybook. So we're gonna build it together. But
Amazing.
First, I wanted your thoughts, because you and Dan in particular think so outside of the box when it comes to image generation. And I really, really want you to like explain how your brain processes sort of like how to create those visual assets. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how to explain it. You guys just open up my mind so much. I'm like, oh, make me a social graphic. It's like when I hear people say like, write my email better with AI, which, don't get me wrong, great use of AI, but I'm like, gosh, that feels like you aren't even scratching the surface. That's how I feel sometimes with my own approach to image generation. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. I mean, I don't hold a candle to Dan's work in that.
None of us do. Let's be real.
Yeah, right. What I would say it this way: I'm not afraid to try whatever. And then Dan has really dialed in on how to get prompts to do exactly what he wants them to do. And I can show you, this is kind of a cool thing that he and I were working on last week, and I can show you a bit of what we did with it, because it is maybe a good use case of it, because it's got some roots in being practical and needing to be real. So
yeah.
I would say one of the mistakes I see people making out there, or maybe I should reverse that, where I see people being successful with AI is where they use it to do something real, right? And I feel like the it's art with accountability when it comes to images in AI. Like, you want the image to actually perform, to do something for you. And so I would say that's the starting point. What's the thing you're trying to accomplish with it? So I would be glad to show you that. You've always got like a great runway for where we're going to go. So just like, let me know what it is. And Megan, so glad to see you here. Blue, so glad that you could join us. Happy to have you here, and completely agree about Beth Cantor. Like, training with her has been one of the delights of my summer. Just so great to do 2 different trainings, one in Austin and one in South Carolina.
Gosh, I'm just jealous in general that you got to travel anywhere that was farther than.
I'm going to Warsaw.
Where's that?
Poland.
Poland.
Yeah.
Canada. Sorry, Dan.
I'm really excited.
Poland.
I know. Anyway, I'll tell you more about it later. But
I can't wait. We'll have so much fun with those images.
Yeah. It'll be great. Okay, so where are you taking us?
Well, before I know typically we talk about FAI, fundraising AI, a little bit later, but I do want to pause really quick, and just because it's coming up, I really do want to talk about the summit. If you've been following along with us, we've been talking about this for weeks, and honestly, we're just getting more and more excited as we see the agenda come together. The schedule is out. You can see it on the registration site. And then, of course, after you register, Dan and Tim are actually hosting, what was it called?
It's a tour. I'm going to show everybody what Dan's been doing. I talked with Candace and I talked with Jen Lau, and I just said, we need people to see what it looks like. And so we're going to do a tour of the stuff that Dan is up to. And we won't have enough time to even scratch the surface, but these are
I'm going to have to be in
happening.
your session just to help control the chat, I think.
Yeah.
So you guys can just go, because otherwise I know you guys are going to be way too interactive, which is great, but you're not going to get through things. So I think I'm going to I wasn't planning on it. I was like, well, I can catch that one. Luckily I get a pretty good overview of what y'all are up to, but now that I think about it, I think I'm going to have to chat warrior that one for you guys.
Yeah, you might need to. We might need you in there. Not
Oh,
you
I love
doing there
it.
explaining it. And
Um,
yeah,
I know, look, I know we mention it a lot. I know we talk about fundraising AI every chance we get, but it is an organization. It's the organization that brought Tim and I together, which I think is awesome. I mean, this is a
it
hell
is.
of a duo.
Yeah.
So shout out to FAI for that. But the fact that, and I say this every time, and super shout out to the sponsors for it, but this is free to us event because of the number of people, for-profit people that are coming together in our industry to say this is worth sponsoring, this is worth amplifying and uplifting. And I'm just so appreciative of the people that show up and really answer that call. And because of that, this is another 40 plus sessions that are completely free, completely virtual, 2 full days of content, all for us. So one of those sponsors being the Human Stack. So I mean, shout out to you, Tim, and to the others that are there and part of it. I wonder if I even have that. Here's a sponsorship graphic I can put over us really quickly. So just, and this isn't even the limit, right? So make sure you guys scan the QR code, or it's just fundraising.ai/summit. Make sure you get registered. I think, gosh, how many did we have last year? It was in like the,
I think over 10,000, right? Like it
yeah,
was
it was
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah. Right. And I just posted the schedule because the schedule is just packed. Just absolutely packed. 3 stages up at a time with some of the most dynamic conversations and speakers out there. And starting with a really important conversation about why this moment matters with Mallory, Nathan, and Floyd Jones. So yeah, these are the conversations that people have been waiting to have. A lot of us are benchmarking fundraising AI as a place where we can throw down some of our best thought leadership that we've been working in, a lot of times in collaboration with others that are also speaking there. So absolutely go. It is free because sponsors are paying for everybody to have a chance to use this time to really elevate who they are. And I'll just put a flag in for the Human Stack, not the brand, but for your staff who are your Human Stack. If there is a thing to invest in, it is not Gemini. It's not, it's not ChatGPT. It's your humans. Your humans are the future of your technology. The human stack is so much more important than your AI stack, than your tech stack, than your information systems. They are the key to it all. So get them there.
I couldn't have said it better. Truly just grateful for the visionaries that started the organization, the volunteers and workers that keep it going, and the sponsors that sort of fuel the fire along the way. And I hope to see y'all there. I am such a chat warrior during this. I think I'm sort of on backup to help if any of our hosts need to step out. So you might see me, but despite how extroverted I am, I do prefer to like chat warrior and hype up and help from the side. So you'll see me, but it'll be in different areas. So I'm excited to see everybody. And next week, actually, just a quick preview, next week's episode for our live is actually going to be building. We're going to go over the schedule a little bit, sort of talk about some of our, like the sessions we're excited about, we plan to go to. If we could go to all of them at once, we would. Thankfully, we can get the schedule after the fact. So I'm excited that we can eventually visit all of them. But next week, you and I, and we'll see if we can convince Dan to come back on. I want to talk about and build like a navigator, like a summit navigator.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but I know next week's the week that I want to do it. So
cool. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Thank you for that sort of like brief pause intermission. I do need to shout out Megan. I would be honored to travel with Megan.
Oh my gosh, what's that about? I missed this.
She said, "Sami, I love to
Caribbean,
travel. Let's go somewhere."
Caribbean for snorkeling. 100%.
Honestly, I'm just honored that she said that.
Yeah.
I used to travel. I think one year I counted, I was on a plane like 70 times, which for someone who doesn't travel for work, that was a lot. And I think I've been on a plane 7 times in the last 5 years. Like COVID really took a hit on my travel. I do drive a lot though. I think my minimum time for driving willingness is about 12 hours. So I drive pretty far. All right. I want to I think I'm going to rely on you, Tim, for where your sort of like overview of what you and Dan went through fits in. I think there's always some really natural intermissions, some breaks. Maybe I'm trying to fix something that isn't working in front of us as that happens. So I think I'm gonna rely on you for that. I'm going to share my screen here. And I'm going to go to, let me hit share. All right, you see my Gemini screen, I believe.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. You made me nervous.
Sorry, I was on a different page. So yeah.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Okay, so starting straight from Gemini, what I first want to do, because like I said, today's goal is to build a storybook, and we did demo what the new VO can do last week. So quick overview. Or a reminder, last week it was just me, and then I'd asked Dan to join on, right? So I made this, I did put the like bars in here, and Dan was telling me about VO. And so before the episode started, we were like, well, we'll just do a little mix of guided learning and VO. And what I was trying to do in Canva, I couldn't do, but I could do with VO, which was put you in an orange jumpsuit because you are in fact behind bars. And then Dan and I really got going, put me in a warden's hat. Then I added an image of Dan, and I was like, you know what, make him a correctional officer. And then we added him to the scene. So this was the extent of our playing last week. We thought it was kind of funny, and it was about this moment that you popped on, I think, Tim.
Yeah, I was like, what is happening here? It was great. I love. I do feel like we missed a chance to say Lieutenant Dan, but
oh my gosh, we did.
Lieutenant Dan.
Oh,
and I can literally say
your wife, who's Jenny. Like, we could have had so much fun.
Like, I know. Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
may not be a smart
yeah, you're right,
Jenny. I know what love is.
There it goes.
I know.
There it goes. So I say this because I don't want folks that missed last week's episode to think we're going from 0 to 20 here. We have sort of given a little bit of a base on how to do some.
Is that going slow or is that going fast? I know 0 to 60 is fast. What is 0 to 20?
No, because I'm going to get us to 60 today, but I didn't want them to think I'm starting at, like, we didn't start right at 20, basically. Like, today we're starting at 20 because I got you from 0 to 20 last week.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. So we're going 20 to 60 today.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Come on. Stick with me.
That's why I'm just trying to keep up as always. Okay, good. Love it.
Okay, so forgive me. I'm kind of mixing some of our previous episodes though, because in our Explore Gems, we knew that there are some pre-made by Google. We've looked at a few of these. One that they've recently released is called Storybook. And the goal is to like create a storybook, right? So
it is crazy good at creating a storybook.
Good. I'm excited.
I
toyed with it a little, but like I said, I always like to make sure, as long as I know it's working, I usually leave the rest of it for the episode.
Yep.
Which sometimes can bite me, but I try to make sure that we're all learning together.
Yeah.
So what I want to ask though, because I know this is going to be geared toward creating it as sort of like quickly as possible. What I want to ask it is, can you guide me through the story making process before we generate the actual storybook? I'm going to move us so people can see on the screen here. There we go. Before we generate.
Okay, so we're starting with the storybook.
Yes.
Okay.
Because what I want to do is I want to utilize what's already built into the storybook gem to create the story.
Okay.
And then further it on. So we want to.
Can you make can you make your letters bigger for my tired old eyes? And then go ahead and
Your
mock me about it.
well-rested, tired old eyes.
There you
Yeah.
go. I knew it was coming.
Ooh. While I'm typing out my prompt here, look what Blue said she's done. That's awesome.
What? Wait, hold on. Explain DAFs.
Hey, Blue, you want to hop on and show us?
Yeah, I want to see that. That is amazing.
I was going to say, go over and send her the restream link. See if she wants to hop on and do it.
Yeah, sure.
That's brilliant. We want to provide a narrative. I want to say an anonymized narrative. Anonymized or using other names. Narrative for the Impact Me AI Learning and Ethics program. So then I'm going to add from our drive. My drive. Impact Me Foundation. Okay, I'm going to see if it'll let me load all of this. Insert. Look at that. Context attached. All right. Oh my gosh, Megan said, "Please, Blue." You can't see it in the way we share these chats, but the please is in all caps.
Yeah.
Megan said she's been working so hard on DAF giving, and she'd love to see what you did. Megan, you can't. Well, depending on what type of artifact it creates, you could possibly share it.
I messaged Blue in the background.
Awesome. Okay, so while this is creating a storybook here, what I want to do is I'm going to, in a new chat, do the exact same thing. 1 second. Now I got to go back so I can copy. Oh, don't you dare tell me that chat doesn't exist. Quit it.
What's it saying?
I don't know. It said it doesn't like me is what it said. I think I exited out of it too soon. All right. Well, I'll do it again. It's fine. Dang.
This is okay. So while you're typing that in, I just want to highlight how effective just this little nugget of throwing in how to explain a DAF with a storybook. Like in 1,000 years, I wouldn't have thought of that use case, which, is perfect because that's why we need other people. That's why it's a human stack, right? And yes. I feel like that's the way to think about this. You got a hard concept, simplify it with something like a storybook and use these tools to do that. It reminds me of the work that Jennifer Owens did when we were vibe coding in the Upskillerator, and she built something that was a connector for DAFs, right? Just in a few minutes built something. It would obviously take hours to connect it, but it was a good way to just look and get an overview of it. And I'm saying that because the areas in your organization where there's friction, this is maybe some of the richest ground to find some of these shortcuts with AI. So I just love that use case. I think it's great. It's the type of way to think about that.
Yesterday, actually, she said, here's the sample. I'm just going to click it. Oh, I don't know if I can. 1 second. I'm going to find it. Oh my gosh. It almost made me block her on accident, and I got really scared.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wait, I don't want to exit off of this while it's like building my story, because
I'll get it in the background. Okay.
Yeah, if you want to add it to the private chat, I can click it and then show it. But last week, Dan and I used the guided learning actually to learn about DAFs. So that was sort of like our foray into it, is teach us more about DAFs, right? So, okay, so created, oh my gosh, the story of integer logistics and the human-centered shift. Sorry. Could anybody? Don't get me wrong. I'm sure this is a great story. What a title.
I know. That's
I kind of want to leave it and see because
I mean, it's a bedtime story, and the title itself will put people down, right? So it's
no
great.
kidding. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm going to use the story as is. But so what it did was it pulled it out as here's the challenge. This is what the program did and what it taught. So a lot of things the human stack stands for: AI is collaboration, not replacement; equity and automation; trauma-informed tech, which that's a Timism for sure. If I ever heard one. Here, let's see if I can. I'm copying. I'm just way too distracted by Blue.
I know. No.
I was gonna say she's got to have way cooler things than I do. So let's see.
Well, I like that what it did. She just sent she sent the cover of it where she had posted on LinkedIn, which is great. So everybody can go over and check it out there. So yeah, it's perfect.
Oh, that's so cool. I love the way
it's really cool. Yeah.
That's really cute. Okay. We'll review that sort of at the end here. But then it was talking about what the program did and then the impact of that, using all through the lens of Maria. And then sort of like that end result.
So this is just the prompt. This is just saying
this was just creating the story itself.
Okay, cool.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this over here. I'm going to explore gems, storybook. Do we want a certain style? What's your your national park style?
Oh, WPA posters.
Generate a storybook. Oh, wait. For this story. 1 second. It looks like it did generate it. Just took a second. I'm putting this in our Spark and the Human First Helpers. So same prompt that I had just given it, but it built the story within it. So remember, I was trying to get it to help me work through the story before it built the storybook.
Yeah.
That didn't happen, but look at this.
I know, right?
Oh my gosh. First of all, and the reason why I love this is because this demonstrates what the new VO update can do.
Yeah.
Which is take like images and manipulate them, not start from scratch and try to replicate them in new positions.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't think of like a better way to demonstrate that than a storybook and how you can utilize what you currently have, right? So, this is just.
Wait, so did you start with an image?
No, this one I didn't. This one was literally the same prompt that I had just given to make the story.
Right.
But that's the one that I thought I lost.
Yeah. Right.
Look at cute little Spark. Okay, I'm gonna do my own little like live on behalf of the Human Stack, just story time with Sami, and we're just gonna read random storybooks that I create on Gemini.
Yeah.
Yeah, Megan, I absolutely love this. So I'm gonna actually now. So you saw what it looked like if we just dumped all of our information in there and said,
"Yeah,
make this into a story," which I love that it did exactly what we wanted. What I was hoping it would allow me to do is work like brainstorm with it a little bit more though. So this, to your point, doesn't allow us to have as much say in the 80%. It just gets us there.
Right.
And this is they literally, you can see it in the descriptor of the gem, like it's an experiment, right? Like this is an experimental gem.
Yeah, exactly.
Blue says to play the audio if I go live. I haven't really played with that yet. So let's see if it can build a storybook for
here. Let me show you a few of the things that I did with Dan, because I can wrap multiple of these together.
Please do, while this is building our WPA poster style story of integer logistics and the human-centered shift.
Okay, so the thing that Dan and I worked on is that I have an off-grid property, and for the last 2 years, I've been trying to put a dome on this off-grid property, and it's been a whole thing. It's been a whole thing. And so what I wanted to do is to see, and Dan and I were just talking about this, and Dan said, I think that maybe you can use the edit photos to do some architecture work with it. And I was like, no, I don't know about that. So I just added this, which is the floor plan of the deck. It's just one piece of it. And then a couple weeks ago, we went up and we finally got these beams put up, right? So this is on an off-grid property about 45 minutes from our house. And what I said was, okay, put this deck on these beams, right? And it did a fairly good job. This is positioned the wrong direction, but that's not bad, right?
Yeah, it doesn't exactly look like AI.
No, it does not. And in fact, some of the details in here are astonishing. Like if you look at the way that this is constructed, you can tell that they are actually like thinking about the substructure of it. And in fact, in one area, then I kept trying to turn it. So here we go. This is where I finally got it turned the right direction. We're going to put a dome on here. So then the next thing that we tried to do was to put this dome on it, which it did. So that's literally what we're trying to build up there is this dome. And then we tried to turn it 90 degrees and that did not work at all. We tried a bunch of other stuff and some of it worked, some of it didn't. But just to say, like this rendering right here is really, really valuable, really helpful for me to show people, here's what the finished thing is going to look like, right? We couldn't get it to raise off the ground. So we had a few interesting things where we were trying to make it do some other stuff. And then we added a hot tub to it. And at one point, it was like going through the beams and something like that. So I'll see if I can find that one because it was kind of fun.
Megan says party at the dome.
What?
She says party at the dome.
I know, like, let's do it. Okay, but then, this is where it got really interesting. Dan was like, let's make a video out of it. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay. And I think that you can hear it when I share this. So we'll see, but isn't that wild? So I know. So that was really cool. And then I was poking around and wanted to create a storybook with it. So here is the storybook. I think if I
didn't realize you'd played with Storybook already. That's funny.
Yeah,
usually I'm ahead of things. Usually I'm ahead of Tim.
You are. You usually are. Yeah, it's true. Okay. So you can do something where you listen in full screen and you so if we want to listen to it.
The Stargazer's Dome. Leo and his dad stood on a grassy hill, the tall pine trees whispering.
All right, we're not going to do the whole thing, but it's a very cheesy story that has all sorts of issues, including like that just looks like a big dome toilet, and all of this, but also that is
paid a lot more attention to that than I did.
This is not at all how you make a dome, but whatever. It's good. That does look very dome-ish, right? And it is kind of funny because I was looking at this with my son, who is much older and has actually put a lot of the wood there and hauled all of it up and everything. But it was a very interesting moment because we have done a lot of
and
this
it was
kind of
the Stargazer's Dome.
No, stop talking. It was kind of a full circle moment because he's now working with me in AI. Mm-hmm. And so Oh, it's just very cool. So this is very usable out of the gates. I mean, I'm not trying to create, children's stories with this. I would love to see this go up one level to things like technical manuals, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it
And
will.
right, yeah, and I mean, I think it's a smart place to start. There's a lot, like everybody's going to forgive you if it's not perfect, if it's a kid's book in a way that they won't if it's a technical writing thing. So I think that makes sense. I think the DAF is a great example of how you could use that. I think there are other complex things that you could use with that as well. If you want to be aunt or uncle of the year, get out there and write a story about your niece or nephew. If you are a teacher, oh my gosh, right? And so I just want to also mention, let's say that your job is illustrating storybooks or writing storybooks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have put, hours and hours and hours into creating a 20-page book. And then someone comes along and they're like, look what I can do with a gem. I just want to appreciate the moment that some people are going to have with this technology that is going to feel like it's invalidating entire levels of effort that have taken years and years to grow the expertise on, and are now people are just going to like pave over it with something really quickly. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, because life isn't good or bad. Multiple things happen at the same time, but there's a loss there for a lot of people that are going to be feeling a certain way about this technology. And I feel like one of the things I hope we continue to talk about is empathy about how the feels are going to happen with this level of technology. It's just like coming out. Like this just dropped without fanfare. Most people don't even know about it because it's just like in the backdrop of all of the other things dropping.
Yeah, I think I really appreciate that clarification. I also want to point out that it's like this isn't possible without what they've done, right? Like without something to build from, this doesn't exist. I also think this is our chance as an industry, as a generation, to consider how you continue to be the best at what you do, utilizing the tools at your disposal. So instead of it taking you 20 hours to illustrate your books, either double down on the 100% human, which I do think there is such a value in that. And there's a group that I don't know if we were in it, Tim, together, but someone said, I think the new like 100% organic like marketing pitch for a lot of people is going to be 100% human, which I think is probably another debate for another time. But I think if you are in the world of art, if that's where you want to go, make sure that it is known. But then consider how you can amplify and upgrade and scale what you currently do. I mean, it can make storybooks based off of your illustrations. So instead of illustrating the entire book, you illustrate page 1 and let it help you make the rest in your IP. You know what I mean? Like there are so many ways you can do that. So
that's true, and that's probably like next month dig into that. I think if you've spent your like if AI just took over everything I've spent my entire career building.
You're right.
And it
You're
just
right.
like popped something out. Like there's a feelings moment people need to have that is not tied to action plans or anything else. It's just like this is a thing now, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like those of us in AI really need to be cognizant of that as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing to change. Like there's nothing any of us could change it, but it is just that kind of a moment. So yeah,
that's a really fair highlight. I think I didn't emphasize it enough, but one of the reasons I chose the prompt that I did today is because I find that to be one of the most unique and engaging ways to highlight impact in your nonprofit, right? So we talked about teachers, parents, aunts and uncles, all that stuff. But think about the idea of your CEO of your foundation or anyone, right? Like I'm thinking like a university president reading the story of a student who came from nothing, got a scholarship, and is now able to do XYZ.
Yeah.
I also see that same story being that president, like revealing that that person is them, right? Like without scholarships, they wouldn't be the president of that university today.
Yeah.
So like think about how difficult it is for us to visualize impact. And yes, we've shown you in Canvas with like creating interactive reports and dashboards and engaging artifacts. But a 10-page like children's storybook that so clearly shows an outline, and what we fed it is not easy information, right? Like that's an AI ethics and learning program where it built the whole story around it in 10 pages. It helped decide what that arc of impact can be and should be, and then it showed it in a manner that in all reality is doable for children, which is huge. So one of the biggest takeaways I wanted people to have was like, if you do literally nothing, go open that storybook gem.
Yes.
Because it demonstrates that VO so well, right? Like it shows you in it, because one thing that it did for me was it helped me see, like I said at the beginning of the episode, I struggle with like that sort of like singular vision with image generation, like do this thing. And it showed me, I was trying to see if I could make a storybook of you and I, and that may still come. I think I need images and context.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to give like a half-ass one for that because I think that'll be a really fun one. But if I were to try to generate those images, it would be like, all right, Tim and Sami doing this. Now Tim and Sami doing this. But what this is doing is like generating the natural next step. So it's flowing like an actual like scene would. Or like what yours was doing is it was building on top. It was not regenerating every time. And that's the thing that we've just hit time and time again. Image generation has just come an astronomical way.
Yeah. And it's just getting rolling. Like it truly is just getting rolling. I think the other thing, and I am not, this is not counterpoint to what I was saying before about what it's like to lose, you know, this expertise that you've spent maybe so much of your time building. But that expertise is really important out in the world, and it can accomplish a lot. And so while there's empathy for those who have spent a lot of time developing that, there's a huge opportunity for people to be able to now create something that is very accessible in a way they couldn't 2 weeks ago. And part of the thing we're going to have to get used to with AI is that we now have the ability to advance a lot further than we could before. And that territory is actually a huge opportunity for organizations to think about a lot of the ways that they're engaging this, right? So if you run an after school youth program, this storybook gem should be front and center on something that you're showing kids what to do with it. It's a positive use of AI, create something that they can be proud of and think through. It could be the story of them and their mentor. There's so much opportunity there. And I think that's a good point. I wanted to ask, can you put your prompt, because I know that you spent time thinking about that. Do you mind pasting your prompt into the chat so that everybody can see what you were doing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, and then one other thing, before we sign off here, let's go back and show everybody exactly where to go to find that storybook prompt to just get started. I mean, for the Stargazer Dome thing that I put there, that was like no prompting. I was like, make a story. I literally just said, make a storybook, and then it did it. So
can you, because I know I'm having some lagging issues, I don't want to open up another window with LinkedIn Live. Can you, I put it in our private chat. Can you, it's not a very complex prompt, to be completely honest.
Okay.
Can you add that to the LinkedIn while I show where to find?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Oh, I love that last line in this, by the way, context attached.
Yeah, because then I didn't have to do anything.
Yes,
I just
no, I
included
think it's great.
all the stuff in my files.
Right? Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Which I mean, we've made this comment so many times, but that's why Google's such a powerful AI tool, is because it has everything. I've already got all my stuff in here.
Exactly.
I'm just going to generate from it. I could have had it search my emails for any other notes on my program before it generate. Like, there's so many bits there.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're on Gemini and you don't see, and I'll zoom in a little, but I don't want to lose sort of the normal screen here, but just gemini.google.com. Sometimes this is expanded, sometimes it's not. So you can just hit that little button there. And then, oh, Megan, I love that. I'm thinking of a storybook about a day in the life of a student in rural Ethiopia. I don't know why you couldn't. Any data you have to back that up makes that. Megan, I'm thinking of a story that just tracks your cars, like the story of your cars and what they've been doing that day. I know you have those like trackers on your cars. I think that would be hilarious.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Probably not as useful, but okay. So right now for me, Storybook is up top because the reason why this is so big right now is because they integrated the new VO, or the new, it's called Nano Banana. Actually, I keep calling it VO, which I shouldn't. Sorry.
Wait, it's called what?
It's their image model is called Nano Banana.
Okay. I did not know it's called Nano Banana, but whatever.
Yeah, I'm really waiting for the Savannah Bananas to do something with that.
All right. I know exactly. Yes.
Maybe I'll post something and we'll go viral, Tim. It'll be great. But if for some reason the storybook is not up here because it's front and center for me, you go to that Explore Gems, you look at those pre-made by Google. I need to zoom out a little bit. There we go. And then there's this show more button. If it's not up here, you can see all the different ones that they have. The reason why this one says experiment is because it is the first of their gems that inherently utilizes another one of their apps, which is that image gen.
Yeah.
So you just click that and you hop right in.
Easy peasy. If you make one of these storybooks, please email me and Sami. It's just Sami@thehumanstack.com, Tim@thehumanstack.com. We'd love to see any storybooks that you make. Just send them our way. Let us see what you're up to. I think that's really cool. Can we do some shout outs here before we sign off? First, the cinematic video prompt that you saw of the dome, that was from Dan Kershaw. So Dan, thanks for joining and thanks for that prompt. You should see the one I put out there was so bad. It was like, it literally, the camera moved like 15 degrees and that was it. It was just so like very, very lame. And then Dan was like, okay, listen, try this. And then he put that in and it was like, the music was cool. It was like background, it was all amazing. So shout out to Dan. Shout out to Megan, who is Megan. The fact that you always show up is just such a huge thing to us. So thank you so much.
I missed you last week.
Yeah.
I was really sad. So for what it's worth, like your absence was noted. I was like, oh, I don't have my hype girl today.
And Blue, thanks for diving in and showing us what you were creating with DAFs. I think that is really, really unique. Very great idea. Also, thanks for posting that on LinkedIn. People aren't doing enough of that. So I think that is exactly the right move. So thank you so much for that. And then as always, Sami, thanks for all of your thoughts and what we're going to explore for today. It's always riveting. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, super excited. If anybody's interested in some deep research, we're chatting that next in our Upskillerator before we sign off. I always like to give that shout out. And then, like I said, next week, if you can see my title for next week's episode, it's FAI finally here.
Your guffaw just totally landed that. Like that was the best. That was awesome. That was great. FAI,
it's like the honor of my week to figure out.
What I like is that if you just say it finally here, like the whole thing is just missed, right?
I know. So I'd be like, finally here. So
we put the AI in finally. Like there you go. Right there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
simplified it too much. That made me sad. All right, friends. We will see you next week, this time, this place. Hopefully we'll see a few of you joining us here shortly to watch Dan's magic. But otherwise, that's all she wrote, folks.
Thanks,
We'll
everybody.
chat with you another time.
Thanks,
Bye,
Sam.
friends.
See you next week.
Bye.